We're out there looking for large-scale gold deposits, something like Valentine, something in the 5 million ounce type deposits. And we've been doing the groundwork and the Greenfields exploration work to identify and discover those deposits.
Welcome to Proactive Investors, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Kerry Stevenson, and today I'm talking with Justin Osborne. He's the non-exec chair of AuMEGA Metals. The ASX code is AAM. This is one heck of a story that I don't think many of you fully understand. Why? Because it's in Newfoundland, Canada, and a lot of people don't understand there's some big companies up there, and I'm looking at AuMEGA thinking, I'm not sure people fully understand what they've been doing, because they've been doing the proper groundwork. They've been doing the boring stuff, but now they're going to start doing some walk-up drill targets. And I don't want to take it away from you, Justin, but I think it's a really interesting time for AuMEGA, and I think it's time people sat up and took some notice. So welcome to Proactive. Let's start with, just give us a brief background. We don't have a lot of time, but I want people to understand that 2026, I believe, is a great year for your company.
Hi, Carrie. Thanks. Yeah, look, we've been operating in Newfoundland for about 5 or 6 years now, and Newfoundland is a fabulous jurisdiction. We've got big companies working there. We've got the Valentine Lake project up the road, operated by Equinox. It's just gone into commercial production late last year. That's a 5 million ounce gold deposit, looking to produce about 450,000 ounces a year. We're on the same structure. We've got 110 kilometres of strike on the same structure to the south. We have 6,000 ounce resource base, which we've had for a number of years. But that's not what the main area we're exploring. We're out there looking for large-scale gold deposits, something like Valentine, something in the 5 million ounce type deposits. And we've been doing the groundwork and the Greenfields exploration work to identify and discover those deposits routinely and diligently over the last 5 or 6 years. We're in a position now, after the work we did last year with our team, to go out probably by the middle of this year, following some more mapping and sampling, and start drill testing some fabulous anomalies that we've recently defined and reported in the last week or so.
Talk to us about those fabulous anomalies that you found in the last week or so.
Yeah, there's two areas that we've focused our efforts on over the last 12 months. The first one is Bunker Hill, which is halfway between our resource base and Valentine Lake. This is a stretch of the Cape Ray-Valentine Shear Zone, highly prospective, very underexplored, historical grab samples and mapping samples taken there over the last 20 years, very scattered, sort of 18, 20 gram gold in places. We've had indications of potential porphyry with copper assays up to 57% in chalcocite veins, 400 gram silver samples. And we went out there into those locations and completed a large scale, almost 100 square kilometre tilt survey on 200 by 80 metre grid over that whole belt. Resulting from that, along with mapping that we completed last year, we've identified a major structure, the branch fault splaying off the Cape Ray Shear Zone, and identified a gold anomaly measuring about 2 square kilometres over the top of that branch fault. We did some very, very limited drilling into that at the start of last year. We intersected about 2 metres at 2 gram gold, so we know that structure is live and it's fertile. And we've got a walk-up drill target, as we mentioned, right on that we are aiming to drill later this year. A second anomaly that we identified there, which is really interesting, it's another splay off the Cape Ray Shear, a little bit further to the east, where we've got very coherent copper, lead, zinc, silver anomalism on a structure, splaying off the shear zone and striking into an area where we did 3 or 4 drill holes last year, and we actually drilled into some porphyry intrusives with big alteration halos around them. There was no copper or gold in those drill holes, but significant alteration. And there's a 3 to 4 kilometre long till anomaly in base metals striking into that. The interesting thing about Newfoundland is there's gold deposits on the island, but there's also VMS deposits. Our Australian neighbours, Firefly, are about a couple of 100 kilometres, probably 400 kilometres to the north. They're exploring big VMS systems. Buchan's mine, historical mine in the district, was one of the highest grade VMS deposits in Canada. So we're in VMS country. So we've got potential for, we believe, for porphyries, VMS, or gold in the system at Bunker Hill. So we'll be exploring that further later this year. The other main area we've looked at is in our resource corridor. We've got 600,000 ounces of existing resource. But close to that is this really interesting granite body that we've identified, we've known about for a long time. Historically, the geological survey and geologists believed it was post-gold and not mineralized. But we had indications from our own mapping that there was veining in it and some level of historic till anomalism nearby. So we set about a big survey last year to the west of that. The edge of that survey went over this big granite, the Isle of Malt granite, and identified plus 50 ppb up to 200 ppb gold in tills all along the margin of this granite. We went back later in the year and finished a survey over that, and we've identified till anomalies over the granite measuring close to 10 square kilometres at over 10 ppb gold. Structures running through it, we've mapped it, we've seen quartz veining, and we'll be going back out there to ground truth that, and hopefully by the middle of the year we'll be in there drilling that as well.
Okay, Justin, we don't have a lot of time left, but one of the things that I want people to understand, you were very involved with Gold Road back in the day, and I remember when everyone said, "You're crazy, there's nothing at Gruyere, what's happening?" Let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, shareholders became very, very happy but you had to do the work. Is there any sort of similarity, because you were with Gold Road, now non-exec with AuMEGA? The market hasn't quite been, it feels to me like it's just like when Gold Road, when no one took any notice, and then all of a sudden, bang. What's your view?
Yeah, the whole story here, and it's what attracted me to this project in the first place, is it feels identical in its history to what we had at Gold Road, which was a series of small deposits that are tellurolaric that were not going to make a mine in their own right. So at the time, Gold Road discovered a small deposit at Central Bore, but then Ian Murray, when he was the executive chairman, stopped the exploration on those little deposits and drove the team to do Greenfields exploration and targeting, looking with a view to find large-scale deposits which would support a gold mine. So they spent 2 years on targeting at Gold Road. They did very little drilling, 2 years on targeting, identified a target called Yam 13 and Gruyere. They drilled that with seven core holes, hit some anomalism, followed that up, and made the discovery at Gruyere. And this feels very similar. You know, we had deposits. We could have pushed on and potentially developed a mine, sort of a small mine. We chose to go back and do the Greenfields exploration on the rest of the tenement, which was unexplored virtually completely. You know, a handful of drill holes over 100 strike kilometres on a major shear zone, hosting 5 million ounces of gold just up the road. We've spent 5 years, no, close to 5 years now on putting the information together. We've got comprehensive geophysics, geochemistry. We've mapped all over the place. This area is all covered. It's difficult terrain. It's covered. So we had to find a way to see through the cover. I think we've done that now with the still sampling. And we've identified these huge anomalies. And now it's time to go and test those exactly the same as we went in and tested the Gruyere anomaly in 2013.
So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. I just wanted to bring this to your attention because this is what they've done. They've done the boring work. Now it's going to get interesting. There will be some more news coming out. But listen, Justin, I'm going to watch very closely now. Newfoundland is a place to be watching. Some big companies there. And just quietly as we finish, B2 Gold have got 10% interest in your project as well. So there's Lots of interesting things coming up, but I really appreciate you coming on and just giving us a brief overview. Next time we chat, Justin, we're going to talk about one of your head of operations, Mike Skied, because he's got a fantastic background. But for now, thanks for joining me on Proactive.
Fabulous. Thank you, Kerry. Cheers.